Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Long Rest. I'm Logan,
And I'm Brandon.
and today we're going to be talking all about homebrew rules that either we use in our games or that we've just heard about, stumbled across, or even contemplated to implement in our own games and maybe just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But
We're going to rank them. We're going to talk about them. And potentially see about some new ones about putting in our game.
Yeah.
As we did some research on some different ones we never
Yeah.
really thought of.
a couple ones that are like, man, that'd be fun, a little gritty, but we'll see.
So we're gonna rank these. So we're gonna do the classic ranking
S-tier.
that everybody uses.
F-tier. Yeah.
S down to F. S A B C D F.
G.
What a funny rating. But we're gonna rank each one of them just for funs. And I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off with one that is near and dear to my heart, as it feels there might not be a worse feeling in the world, but when you level up,
Yep.
you get to reroll ones on hit points. Dice.
Yeah. I don't even know, like, calling you out here, if this is you, if you're a DM and you've let your players, I almost said customers, you've let your players,
That's your customers.
you've let your players keep those ones on their HPs, like, man, you are mean. You are one cold-hearted guy. I
It's
would never
tough.
do it, so I rank this one as an S tier homebrew rule because it just feels so bad rolling that one, and there's a lot of consequences to having low hit points.
There is, and if you don't have a good constitution, that makes the level up feel that much worse when you roll a 1 and you only get a +1, maybe +2, and say you're a wizard. And I get it. There's health disparities for a reason. Glass cannons, tanks, they're supposed to be there. But that being said, it feels pretty bad when you do hit the 1. So I will also agree. This is an S tier for me, and this is one
S
we've
tier.
utilized for years now.
Yeah.
And it feels good. And a caveat, an off twist to this, is we've even done a homebrew rules. We did it on my last campaign.
Yeah.
That on odd levels, it was max. You just got a max hit die, so you didn't have to roll. You
Yep.
could roll if you wanted to, if you so choosed it. You could roll. But odd levels, max die. Even levels, you rolled.
Yeah.
And it felt like it helped the progression of HP a little bit more evenly in the game. A little more,
Yeah.
a little stronger health pool, but a lot of times it doesn't really hurt.
No.
You know?
I don't know from a player perspective at any point where that extra HP like made me feel strong, like that much stronger.
Yeah.
But I know it was also game changing at the same time.
Yes.
Plus, I loved those even levels. Like, I knew at the end of the day, even if your subclass or class doesn't give you anything on that level, at least on the evens, I got max HP. So, another alternative is allowing players to either roll and gamble for their hit points, or to just get their average of their hit
Oh,
dice.
yeah. Just an auto average.
Yeah. Yeah. So, multiple ways you can roll hit points itself, but we think re-rolling ones on HP, S tier homebrew rule.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next one we use?
This is easily one of my favorite ones. It is on a natural 20. You get max damage of whatever that attack is automatically, and then you get to add whatever you roll to that damage. We only do that for melee and weapon attacks. Spells, since you can get, like 10d6 and then they're rolling 60 at a bare minimum, plus whatever they roll. So on average, you're probably looking at like 90 points of damage for a spell just on an extra 20. As awesome as that would feel, also we figured out it was broken real quick. It only took us like maybe 3 levels of that, and then we're like, okay, pause. We can't do that no more.
Yeah, it gets hard. Spells, because we had play with the idea of you only allow up to certain levels. It gets fishy, so we just said melee weapons. You get the full damage, and then you roll for that bonus.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and it makes them feel so much better.
Oh yeah. It's truly powerful hits that help you keep up with casters. Truthfully.
Yeah, and nothing feels worse. You roll a natural 20
And then you roll a 1 on the damage dice, and you're
Yeah.
like, whoopee, 2 points.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
2 plus 6 or 2 plus 5. You're like, I did 7 points of damage on natural 20. Ooh,
Yeah.
You know.
And your average damage is more than 7. It
Yeah.
just feels bad. So that was our workaround. And then spells just have standard natural 20 rules where it's double the dice on those.
See, I'm going to give this an A because I feel like now speaking about it again is, gosh, we really should. We probably could figure out something that would help spellcasters a little bit and make that feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, for simplicity's sake, it is a very clean rule and it's very easy to follow. It doesn't take effort and it's not hard to like, oh, you rolled natural 20 and do melee damage? Cool.
Yeah.
It's just maxed. Get to roll.
Absolutely.
But it's a fun one.
So that's where I also, ironically, was thinking A tier.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a perfect homebrew rule. It's got its quirks, maybe a couple kinks that we just don't care to iron out.
Yeah.
But our table loves it.
Yeah.
And every table I played at enjoys it. So that one, A tier.
One that I actually thoroughly enjoy, we've gone through several renditions of this, is potion usage. We've gotten to the point where we'll have to break this down a little bit and we'll take it slow. If you use the potion on your action, it's full amount for yourself.
You don't roll it, you just
Max amount that potion offers.
Exactly.
If you use it as a bonus action on yourself, you roll the die, so a standard 2d4 plus 2, you would roll it. And then that's whatever you get. And if you use that potion on somebody else, you roll it as well.
Yeah.
So, because potions can be expensive, if you use that time to heal yourself, we felt like you should be rewarded for that.
Yes.
You're taking that action to make sure, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you drink every drop in that potion, and so you should get the max availability from that potion.
Exactly.
Whereas a bonus action, it's rushed. You're taking
chugging it.
Yeah, you know, maybe half of it ended up in your mouth, the other half's on your shirt.
Yeah.
And then as well as like you're trying to feed it to somebody else, there's a risk there that they might not be able to drink it all or whatever have you.
Right. However, we do say if you give it to someone, it is your action to supply that potion.
Yeah.
And it still only does the rolling because we assume if you're giving it to someone, they're basically unconscious.
Yes.
So you're trying to force a liquid down their throat, and you probably got some dribbles down their cin, right?
Well, it's, even if they're conscious,
yeah,
like
spluttering.
that's a little weird. You know, in the
Yeah.
middle of combat, I'm just trying to feed you a potion. You're swinging a sword. You know, everybody hit me up.
Yeah, it'd be like the whole
Maybe they need to make a hat that does like that can hold 2 health potions in there. You just
Yeah,
have 2
there
straws.
we go. There's a homebrew item right
That's
there.
a great
I love
homebrew
that.
item,
Yeah.
actually.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Hat of healing potion.
Yeah. Man, that's good.
It should be called helmet of healing potion because they're always like on
Yeah,
construction
yeah.
helmets.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a good one.
That's a little bonus content.
Yeah.
But all the joking aside, I think this is an absolute S
I do
tier
too.
homebrew.
It is it's very clear.
Yeah.
And it doesn't lead to any confusion at the table. You know, like from the get-go when that rule's established, all the players know it, and they know when you're in combat, I'm either going to have to take this myself, like I need the full hit point, so I'm going to sacrifice my action to do this, or I just need that little pump up from this 44 plus 4, so I'm going to go ahead and take the risk.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully get 8 out of to 10, you know?
And that's the nice part is it's the player's choice to either gamble or not.
It puts the power back into the players, by
Yeah.
all means. That's a great point.
There is a variation on this rule that I've seen that I would probably put in like an A tier category, and that is purchased potions. Since they're not cheap, they always get the max healing. Basically, they're a perfected potion. And when I've heard this rule, most of the time, purchasing potions is kind of like a rare event, but crafting potions is more common. And those crafted potions you have to roll for. So it's an action to administer it either way, but on a purchase potion, your hard-earned money goes further. It's a perfect product, so you get the full HP. On a crafted potion that you made is rolled. So, setting dependent, I think it's A tier.
Yeah, and I'd almost go B, just from the aspect, say you want to be a herbalist and you know you're playing a campaign for a long time, eventually
You're gonna be pretty good
one would think you're pretty decent
You'd
at
hope.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Better than even the guy you're selling from the shop for.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
if your
absolutely.
character wants to focus on that, which would be a super cool utility for your character to do.
Yeah.
So say 50 sessions in and you've made 25, 30 potions, you think at some point you're kind of starting to get some perfection down there.
Yeah, easily.
You know what I mean?
So,
and maybe that's a lot of potions. I know I'm highballing it there, but like you would think that you'd have a little bit of expertise eventually.
Yeah.
But it still is cool. It's a good way to,
yeah.
a good idea. So
I might meet you after that. I'd probably say you're right.
Yeah.
Probably B tier because it definitely has its kinks. But hey, maybe it works for you.
Yeah, this is another one.
Yeah.
What else you got?
This is easily one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I
we
call
said that a
it
couple times. Huh?
yeah. Truthfully, the first ones that we thought of were
All
our
of our own.
homebrew rules that we stand by.
Yeah.
This one is kind of like what I call the blow it if you got it. There is no limit to how many leveled spells you can cast per turn. If it's an opportunity attack and you have Warcaster, spend that 5th level, 9th level spell. I don't care. If it's still within your turn and you just cast a 4th level Guiding Bolt, and now now on your opportunity attack for your Warcaster, you're casting, I don't know, anything. But then you also cast Spiritual Weapon. These leveled spells, from a DM's perspective, it just burns through the player's resources. That was the player's choice to do that.
Yes.
So it gives them that power to be as powerful as they want in that moment, knowing they just burn through up to 3 leveled spells in one turn. And they can do it every time.
Yeah, and we tested this one, I would say, with a decent amount. We communicated through this a lot. And it does change encounters. It does burn them a little bit quicker, so that is something to get used to. But that being said, this is the opportunity from a dungeon master to take that opportunity of those minimal resources, and now you get to help balance maybe those couple different encounters, in which we've talked about that before. There's 5 different types of encounters you can now start throwing at your party at a much more effective rate, because those spellcasters don't have maybe those utility spells, or if second combat encounter, then now they're scrounging for spells because they chose to try to just like pump and dump spells, and like they were like the damage king or queen. Hey man, you did a good job there.
Yeah.
Now you're in trouble, and you're going to be relying on Firebolt. Like you put yourself in these shoes.
Another kind of like twist to that rule as well is I completely lost my train of thought. I'm kind of mad at myself.
That's okay. I'll lend a gap here. The one cool part it does offer is when the party gets into such a scary position that the spellcaster might be like the guy that was in the back line is maybe one of the last ones standing. It gives him the opportunity to go, well, I have to go all out.
Yeah, putting that last stand.
Yeah,
in.
like because if you get up to me and my 25 HP or 35 HP,
gone.
Yeah, like your 2 or 3 swings a turn are gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
So I gotta use it, like you said.
Yep.
Dump it if you got it, and I'm going to. This is it. And so it does create some pretty cool cinematic moments that we've seen where people get the opportunity, and it makes a difference. So
my train of thought did come back.
Yes, sir.
It is combining spells within yourself. You can always combine it with your other party members, but this gives you the opportunity to be like, man, a bonus action spell and then an action spell capitalize on each other. Perhaps one gives disadvantage on saves, so you cast Bane and then Spiritual Weapon all in one go.
Yeah.
Anything like that, or Bless and Spiritual Weapon. Who knows? I'm just naming cleric spells because they're kind of off the top of my head. Regardless, you can combo your own spells on your own turn, so it really makes you feel like a master of your spellcraft. Ranking-wise, I'm torn between S and A.
I will say A. That's where my first heart is, because I do think it takes a little more effort from the Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
It does change it a little bit, and you do have to be prepared for it. But I don't think it's a hard thing not to get normalized.
Yeah. I definitely put it an A+ at the bare minimum. I might push it to S just because what the players have access to,
yes,
the Dungeon Master also does as well.
Very much so.
That Lich can just walk in and, power word kill and then bonus action do whatever, right?
Yeah.
They're going to come in hot and heavy.
Sorcerers go hard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sorcerers go hard.
Yeah. So the next one is flanking and these are all optional rules actually on the flanking ones.
This one is, yeah.
Yeah. There's kind of two schools of thought. Flanking gives advantage on attacks, or flanking gives a +2 on the attack, or flanking has no bonus.
Yeah.
We think it should give some kind of bonus because obviously it is a tactical advantage.
Yes.
But we directly describe flanking as one character facing down the enemy, the other character directly behind them. So out of their line of sight, behind the enemy, they get a +2 to the attacks, not advantage. Because the advantage thing, it really got out of hand.
We ran that. Yeah. And my buddy here was a beautiful fist-flying monk, and he had the mobile feet.
Advantage.
And we did the advantage on the flanking, and we weren't strict on the positioning, and it turned out to... it was incredibly difficult to not have advantage at some point, like one or two characters to not have advantage in combat all the time. So
it was goofy.
Yeah, it just didn't make it fun. When you can always win in the scenarios, that there's no downside, right? So in those opportunities, it made it better. So the +2 flanking gives you something for getting into that tactical position, and you're forcefully on the opposite side, so it gives you benefit, and I really like it. I think it's a very well balanced, and it's an optional rule, but it's kind of homebrewed because I don't feel like a lot of people talk about it too much or use it, and maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. But I would honestly give this an S. I think it's just a very balanced, and it's clear. Yeah. Like you have to be on the opposing side. You only get a +2, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, you're probably right on the S. Like I was kind of on the border of an A, just because from a player's perspective, you feel a little depowered as opposed to getting advantage all the time.
Sure.
But the balance coming from both sides, being a player and having us to talk about this rule and change it mid-game, and then also being on a DM perspective and implementing the rule, I like it.
Yeah.
I'd say it's an S tier, honestly. It's a great balance to flanking in general.
Yeah, I just think when rules are that cut and clear like that, it's just nice.
Yep.
So here's the one that I think every single person does. It's this word called like encumbrance.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. All right. So that was that one.
S tier.
Yeah. Look, if you all the power to you, and I applaud you from the highest stands if you take the time to track encumbrance. And boy,
good luck with loot on your gold coins. That's all I'm saying. Is 5,000 gold coins weighs a lot.
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, I don't even have the words to say.
Yeah.
It just drastically changes your game, in which maybe I could see where it could be kind of fun to play a grungy game where you had to be exact.
Yeah.
In those moments, in the short times you get to play D&D, sometimes something so specific can take away from the opportunity we get to play, and I don't feel like it's worth it.
To me, the encumbrance rule makes the game feel like a survival game, I guess.
Yeah.
Where you can only fill up so many inventory slots, and then you have to go back to deposit them or manage them. On a resource management heavy tabletop role-playing game, adding one other tracking system to it, it's kind of a lot. But like we said, sometimes that real hard, crunchy, gritty game is the game you want to play at the table.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is an S tier by any means. I would probably put this as B tier because it is encumbrance exists in the game for a reason.
Absolutely.
And I think most people just choose to ignore it. So it's just laziness.
Yeah.
And so I'd call it a B tier home rule.
Yeah.
Because it's just there for our own convenience and nothing else.
With you saying that, I almost could say C then.
Yeah.
You know,
it serves no purpose.
Now that you say that, it wouldn't take much effort to make an inventory style thing where, like, even if you didn't worry about weight, but you could only have X amount of items.
Yeah.
And so, like, hey, once you have this amount of items, like, you're full.
Ooh, actually, this does that spins me off into homebrew rules for encumbrance that I did see. Instead of tracking weight, what they did is they tracked volume. So you could only have so many items that would take up 4 slots. So they would basically designate a size. Tiny is 1 slot, small is 2, so on and so forth,
Sure.
medium, large. And you could only carry so many large objects, so many small objects.
Like you had X
tiny
amount of
ob-
squares to pick
Exactly.
up. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So if
Yeah.
you built your inventory as like a grid, like if you thought
Yeah.
like Minecraft, and instead of one slot each time, some items take up 4. So I've seen that as a homebrew rule.
you could
and-
print out a paper that would have it, right? And then
Yeah.
have like even cut out single square ones and color them, and
Yeah.
you could like have a tracker
Yeah.
for the table, and it wouldn't be a terribly hard thing to do.
Yeah, so I
So,
think you're probably
yeah.
right. It's a C tier homebrew rule because it's laziness, and there's 100 different ways to homebrew
Yeah.
it better, and we just don't.
We just
So,
did it. So
Yeah.
we just did it. One that is kind of embedded in 2024 now in 5.5
Yep.
is the free feed at level 1.
Yeah.
I guess in 2014 rules, 5e, it didn't exist
Yeah.
unless you were that beautiful variant human. But other than that, a feed at level 1, which now we get one with our backgrounds.
Yes. But
So-
there are specific origin feats.
You are correct.
So
It's still very niche, the amount of the feats that you can get at the current time. I'm sure as more source books come, list will increase. So I still think there's room for this.
Yeah. In the 2014 space, the free feed at level 1 was absolutely an S tier homebrew rule.
Yeah.
I like to think that we were doing it really early. Like it was before even rumors of 2024, we had this rule implemented
Yeah.
as just like a little reward to make your player richer.
Yeah.
You know, at the beginning, you have something coming in that defines your character as
Yeah.
opposed to just the level 1 class. There's something extra. And then origin feats came along, and again, it's a very limited list, but they limited it for a good reason.
Absolutely.
It's-
It gets out of hand quick. right?
Exactly. It keeps it to make sense. You know, the guard has the alert feat. The farmer has the tough feat because they're out there sowing the fields, things like that. It absolutely makes sense where the origins feats come from. So 2014, this was an S tier homebrew rule. Nowadays, it's just part of the game.
And
But you could still add a free feat at level 1 or at any ASI. Sometimes I like to reward a well-earned level up with a free feat. It doesn't have to be level 1. It could just be a random level, but also during an ASI, I'll say you get both. Take a feat and 2 to your ASIs.
the cool part about 2024 is a lot of feats now do have a +1 to a simple stat of some kind. There's a point I was going to make. We were talking. In 2014, it took a lot more collaboration in that free feat because you were talking with the dungeon master saying, "Hey, I would like to take Magic Initiate," and you go, "That doesn't really fit your character at all.
Yeah.
We have to make this fit in the backstory." Whereas in 2024, the 5.5, I think they make it specific enough that it doesn't need the communication between the dungeon master, like it's built into your character right there, and they're well enough and small enough feats, if you will, that it doesn't directly affect the game like
Yeah.
something could.
No, absolutely.
Oddball,
Yeah.
So that is the one thing. It does take good communication and good collaborative detailing before that game starts if you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And even later on, like you want it to fit, your character and fit in that moment.
Absolutely. I
boy.
do think an absolute. So if we this one's not really a homebrew rule anymore, but I think giving players free feats whenever they have earned them. The
Yeah.
thematic feats, like Chef is the perfect feat for them to be able to earn. Resilient, where you gain proficiency in a saving throw. Those are awesome for your players to actually work towards. They did
Absolutely.
some training, or there was a big moment, a big arc that they accomplished. You get a free feat guy. That's an S tier homebrew rule to me.
Absolutely. And as a dungeon master, you could have kind of like a preemptive list that when you got your character's backstories, you go, okay, these are these ones that I could see fitting in this, and like write them down.
Yeah.
And when you write them down like that, in those moments, you're going to feel a little bit better about remembering it, and then like, hey, Logan, yep, you've been purposely making sure you cook every single meal. Eventually, hey, now you've unlocked the chef feat. That, as a player, that's super rewarding too, because your dungeon master's been thinking about you, and can see that,
Yeah.
and you just get something for free. Who doesn't like free stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Free stuff plugs. So,
Absolutely an S tier.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and even the free fleet, I'm going to give it a B tier because it does take a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Just in standard, free fleet level 1. I'm going to give it a B tier because it does take a lot of effort for making sure that both parties, DM and player, are on the same page and it's not being kind of broken. It can be.
Sentinel at level 1. Don't do it.
Yeah, there's just certain things that just kind of, it doesn't make sense.
Not at all. Yeah.
So.
Next, homebrew rule. I love this one.
Intense.
It's crazy. Oh my gosh. This drove me absolutely nuts when we first implemented it because it was golden. I'm going to go on record and say this is my absolute favorite. I've said it a lot. This
Chalk
is
it up.
Actual
Somebody tally it.
Favorite homebrew rule. It's implemented across the board. And we've done it at Commander's Log. And that is hidden death saves. The player does not know what they roll. Because it's real easy to sit around the table and be like, okay, you have 6 total death saves. If you go 1 for 1 up until the very end, I guess you have 5. That kind of gives you cushion for the urgency of when you need to revive them.
Correct.
Especially if everybody around the table knows. The cleric is sitting there going, I'm going to wait, I'm going to hold my action to cast Revivify, Healing Word, or even just stabilizing them. Instead of spending the resources there, they say, well, they've got 2 successes and 1 failure. Let them go 1 more round. Maybe they get back up on their own. Maybe they get a little 2 and 2 and we step in. But we got a round. We've got a round of cushion. Whenever we started doing this rule, oh my gosh, it drove me nuts because you'd be like, you don't even know if after the 3rd round, if he's just making you roll just because you've already failed all the time.
It does drastically change the gameplay too. And I can say the players changed their tune.
Yeah.
When somebody dropped, it was now a priority to make sure you go heal that barbarian.
Oh yeah.
To go
away.
To go heal that wizard because you don't know.
Yep.
And I tried to get better at it. We introduced this, I think it was kind of mid-campaign actually. We talked about it. We didn't do it right away.
We did not, yeah.
So, and from the DM, after the second roll, you can kind of give a little bit of textured characteristics of what's happening.
Yeah.
Ask the player if you could let out, you can let out 5 or 6 words, let something out, or you feel something, give them a feeling of how they're feeling, and it really sours the room and lets them know,
Yeah.
It is a good one. It immediately intensifies that combat.
Yeah.
And it's simple.
Absolute S tier.
Because when we'd have the player stand up and come roll behind the DM screen. They couldn't see, head off to the side and they roll. I'd hand them back the dice, or you've handed me back the dice, and you just have no idea.
Yeah.
I would S tier.
Yeah.
This is a great one.
It sure is.
One that we've talked about. This one is, I use the word grungy. This is long rest can only happen in a bed. And it's of a safe place. So your home, an inn, a tavern, that's the only place long rest. So if you go travel, everything is considered short rest.
Yep.
That's all the benefits you can receive back.
Super crunchy.
We've never used it. We've talked about it in depth about trying it.
Because it would drastically change the gameplay of the resource management, especially from spellcasters.
Absolutely.
And more so the ones that do not have any way to recharge abilities.
Correct.
If you are a long rest dependent class, the short rest guys, monks, warlocks, you're golden. You don't care about this. Everybody else, you're going to find some struggles to where you're itching to get to that long rest. I think, honestly, it'd make a very fun game. I think this is one that I want to implement. Mad at myself that we haven't yet.
It's a tough one. It is a tough one.
I'd almost call this a B+ tier.
Yeah, I would put it in that CB just because I don't like the idea of punishing players because you play a certain class.
Yeah.
And so that's the only caveat for me is the potential for a wizard, sorcerer to feel I'm punished because we're taking this 5-day trip and we get into a couple skirmishes, or have to jump this cavern and I cast fly on us or whatever have you. Now I can't recharge my spells but the fighter still can smack every single time like nothing's changed, you know?
Yeah.
It does feel a little different.
On the contrary, spells like Lehman's Tiny Hut and Rope Trick, anything that gives you a sanctuary away from home, they become massively important. Even weird spells that no one would ever take, like Catnap, all of a sudden have a place.
Yeah.
So I do think this adds a lot to the game, even though it does make it very crunchy. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'll go B tier because I love the idea. I love the idea of it.
Yeah. I do.
It would take a full dive in. You got to have full commitment from everybody to do this. That's the one big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to throw out one more.
Okay.
Just because we did so many.
I was gonna say this might be a part one.
Yeah.
I think we might have a second part of this video.
Easily, but I wanted to throw in one that I don't like at all, and that is the armor or weapons needing to be like maintained. It kind of toes the line of encumbrance to where if this is a rule you've implemented, it's probably not the table I want to sit at, because that's probably not something I want to be thinking about. Like, I can see its place, but I feel like it'd be really boring to me.
Yeah, so ultimately the homebrew rule says, hey, your armor has this amount of hit points. Eventually, it will degrade and it will break down, or like your AC, if you're full plate, like eventually goes down from an 18 to a 17. There's a few renditions, and eventually, it's just degrading. Doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
Tracking it fairly, I think, could be difficult. I do think that
fairly accurately and consistently,
yes,
I think would be the big struggle.
It's the consistently part where and it might be a complete accident, but if you were always consistent but person B wasn't, then it would feel kind of bad.
Yeah.
And to nobody's fault, because things just happen. You haven't played for 2 or 3 weeks, and you just forget something. But and in the world of like, once you hit the magical stage, it's not going to degrade.
Yeah.
So, if you have a mundane plate, but everything else is, where's the cutoff line? Like, eventually speaking, but I guess that gives you a fire to get magical stuff.
Yeah.
You need coin to get it. So
there's definitely some benefits to it, and I could see why some people would do it, but I don't know if I'd ever have the heart in me to do it.
Yeah.
So I would put it a C tier, maybe for some of the good that it supplies. But personally, I'd probably put it like a D tier, because I'd just be like, that rule's dumb. No thanks.
I'm in straight D. I don't know that adds benefit to the game.
Yeah.
I could see where somebody would enjoy it, and all the power to you if that's at your table, but I don't see the benefit to increasing the gameplay.
True.
But everybody plays it differently. So, but for me, it's D. So, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is part 1.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot more ideas we wrote down.
Yeah,
so.
We've got a lot more ideas. And more importantly, we want to hear from you guys.
Absolutely.
Homebrew rules you would love to implement, or you have tried in the past and absolutely hated, absolutely loved, things you've always wanted to try out.
Yeah.
Get in the comments, start a conversation, and any comment down below is going to get you an entry.
It will. It will soon, because this video, it'll be not this Saturday, but it'll actually be in the next one.
Oh, is it that true? Okay.
Yes, that is true. But
my bad.
No, but hey, you're warming up the fingers.
I am.
But our giveaway for the next round of Turtle Tabs is coming out very shortly. So if you're here, if you tune in next week for part 2, you will be able to enter in.
Yeah. Comment regardless to get you in the practice. And then when the real test comes on May 1st?
Yeah, May 2nd is that Saturday.
Okay, so May 2nd, 2026. If you comment then, that's when you'll enter. But just get your practice rounds in today.
Hey, no worries. But hey, you're going to want to come back next week, and now it gives you 2 reasons.
Yeah,
but
sure does.
Comment down. We'll gladly have a discussion with you guys. And if you're sticking around this long, make sure to check us out on Wednesdays for Commander's Log, where we play one-on-one D&D and a live play.
Absolutely.
Other than that, guys, thanks for tuning into this week's episode, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.